All right, guys, welcome back to the commentary booth. Again, I'm Kill2. I'm here with Michael Bolden. We're on day 1 of Alliance Tournament 9, and we're looking at Perihelion Alliance versus Vanguard Imperium. On the left, for Perihelion, we have 2 Drakes, a Scimitar, 3 Tengus, a Stiletto, 2 Stilettos, and 2 Dramiels.
And for Vanguard Imperium, we have a Nightmare, a Basilisk, a Slipnir, 3 Cyclones, a Lachesis, and 2 Dramiels.
So we've got 2 setups here that are different than anything we've seen so far. Tengus we saw last match, but this time supported by Drakes instead of Lokis. And then on the right side, we have a Nightmare, which is pretty awesome. These teams warped in kind of on top of each other at sort of medium ranges. So they'll be between 30 and 50k between any of the ships on the field. The Lachesis a little further back than any of the rest of the Vanguard ships, and most of the red team blobbed up there underneath. So we're underway now.
Yep, looks like Perihelion is going to be dumping out missiles as fast as they can, and it's going to be up to Vanguard Imperium to put the bear of their Cyclone and Slipnir DPS, as well as the Nightmare, really onto those Drakes and Tengus. Now, you can see the Lachesis take damage. You can also see on your screen, at least you could a second ago, a lot of E-War effects coming from this Perihelion team. I don't know why everybody loves saying that name. It's terrible to say, but there's a lot of dampeners on the field right now. I think the Tengus, the Drakes, probably some of the Frigs, the Stilettos as well, all fielding damp. So this team's going to try and kite. They're going to be running around the field trying to keep this Vanguard team from getting any locks. And there goes the first ship down for Vanguard. Yeah, those Tengus and those Drakes have a ton of mid slots, and they're perfect for fitting E-War modules in addition to your shield tank. It looks like the Vanguard Imperium is trying to put some DPS on that Scimitar, but it's not coming in very fast. It looks as though the Cyclones are having trouble applying DPS as well as Slipnir.
They do now have a solid tackle, all 3 Cyclones for the Vanguard side, or at least, yeah, all the ships that look like trains, including the Slipnir, are able to turn the DPS on now. So the Scimitar doing actually a really good job tanking, considering it's got 4 ships on top of it. The Cyclones are running newts for sure. But he's holding up okay. Now starting to go down a little faster, about half shields, and we're going to lose a Dramiel for the Vanguard team. There it goes.
Yep, and there are no shield. Oh, we're just getting some. Looks like we're just getting some shield rep drones onto that Scimitar, but it is quickly approaching the end of its shields. And once it's out of shields, it should go down pretty quickly. Let's see how it happens.
And another Frig down for the Vanguard team. Looks like we definitely will lose this Perihelion Scimitar. This Vanguard team, just like one of the teams in the last match, running smart bombs on their Cyclones and Slipnir. So that might be real common. You know, with 1 logistics on the field, the rep drones coming from the rest of the team are going to be real important, and smart bombs are a great way to clear those off. So the Slipnir down, we lost a Stiletto as well, and some damage being spread across a couple of these Vanguard ships. The Basilisk actually taking a lot of damage, but repping it back. Big local tank on that Basilisk.
Yeah, it looks like it. Just like the teams in the last match, Vanguard Imperium chose to come in with 9 ships versus the 10 on the Perihelion Alliance team. And it's really, that local tank is pretty impressive. It is taking a ton of damage, but it is repping it back up with admirable consistency.
Admirable consistency for sure. Yeah, he is boosting like half his shields per pulse there, so that's pretty cool. I wonder if maybe they should think about switching. One of the Perihelion Tengus now at about half shields. There goes the Basilisk. That's the problem with the local tank, I guess. You get a little slip and down he goes. So now just the Battlecruisers plus the Nightmare left. We haven't even talked about the Nightmare this match. I wonder if he's able to do anything with all the damp pressure on the field. Looks like no. I don't see any lasers active at all in that Nightmare. So he's slow boating around the field at 115 meters per second, not doing much of anything, but
yeah, that Nightmare, a very significant portion of Vanguard's DPS. Meanwhile, the Drakes and the Tengus are just pouring out missiles. Looks like they have a little bit of E-War on them, but there's so many that with the ships remaining, Vanguard Imperium just can't keep them locked down.
So this Tengu probably going to go down. He's not... Now he's tackled for sure. Definitely webbed. Caravel Socks. Tengu tackled and going down. Although the tackler, the Cyclone that had the web for sure, just went down. So it's going to get harder and harder as the Vanguard team runs out of ships to try to catch up and lock down these kiting missile ships, especially as they can channel more and more damps towards the fewer ships remaining for the Vanguard team, as well as having to deal with the tackle from the Dramiels and the Stiletto. They can probably keep these Cyclones and Slipner in place. I'm looking at one of the Cyclones right now, and he's definitely webbed, having a hard time catching up to whatever he wants to Mr. Velsox, who is actually about to go down.
Yeah, it looks like he's about to go down. It's very important to note the power of those Dramiels and Stiletto, just the fact that they can lock down those ships and control and dictate range, while their exceptional speed can really mitigate a lot of the damage coming in. And we got another Cyclone about to go down.
You guys had a shot of the Nightmare a second ago. He was able to get some lasers on, which is good. They definitely want as much from that ship, being both very expensive and being a relatively high point cost compared to everything they got on the field. Another Cyclone down, though. They are getting to work a bit on one of the Drakes. It looks like, to me, the Nightmare is the only thing putting damage on this Drake, and it's actually doing just fine on its own. The Drake a little too close.
Yeah, it's strange that they would shoot for those Drakes. They must be having... those Drakes must have a lot of E-War, because I would really shoot for the Tangos. The DPS on the Tangos is much more significant, and the tank difference is not so large as to make that DPS difference irrelevant.
Well, another thing you need to keep in mind, Michael Bolton, is that, for this team, which clearly Vanguard looks like they're going to be the losers in this match, it doesn't matter if they're going to lose. They need to get as many points on the board as they can. Coming out of these group stages, that each team is going to play 3 matches, and total points are going to determine who gets out. So there goes that Drake, and that's great. That's another, 13 points in the bank for Vanguard, and that might be really important later on, even though, maybe a Tengu would potentially be like a better target if they were trying to win, but I don't know. You got to start getting points where you can. And as I say that, this last Vanguard Cyclone goes down. So we're now looking at a Drake, a pair of Tengus, a pair of Dramiels, and a Stiletto versus just this Nightmare and Slipner.
Yeah, it's interesting to see those Drakes. A lot of people were predicting that with the new decrease in points for the T1 battlecruisers, that you weren't going to be seeing many T2 battlecruisers. That's why particularly the Cyclones have been very popular with that new points decrease. But we've got another Cyclone getting into about a quarter shields.
That's a Slipner, bro.
Oh,
it's a
sorry,
Slipner.
Slipner. Big difference. The Slipner is way more DPS. Looks like it's probably going to go down pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, at this point in the match, the reason that these guys have Drakes instead of, Feroxes or Cyclones or something like that is the Drakes can max out range, use the damps. They have a lot of utility mids, and they can be efficient from range, which is obviously kind of the central purpose of this team, is to dictate range and do damage no matter where they're at. And that's pretty much what's happening here. The Slipner was having a hard time getting damage on. For some reason, a Drake flew directly towards it. It doesn't seem to really care. But probably that won't matter. So the Slipner kind of, flailing helplessly, trying to put some damage on this Drake, but they've got him pretty much where they want him, I guess, and he's going to be the first thing to drop, and the Nightmare should follow quickly.
Yeah, no, the power of the name Perihelion has appeared to imbue their team with incredible strength and missile spewing ability. They're starting to put damage on the Nightmare, last ship on the field for Vanguard Imperium. Looks like this is going to be a very convincing win for Perihelion Alliance.
Yeah, this is actually, I guess, our most decisive win so far, which is pretty awesome considering even in this match we had, 4 or 5 ships die for Perihelion. I think that's going to be the theme. It's going to be beneficial for everyone in these groups to just make sure to take ships off the field. You're not going to benefit from edging out a close win where nobody was able to kill very much. So it's interesting. For some reason, this Drake, the remaining Drake for Perihelion, was close enough that the Nightmare could actually activate guns. I don't know why. There's so many damps that, and at this point he's far enough away now that the Nightmare was able to stop shooting, or had to stop shooting. But if he would have stayed close, the Nightmare actually could have killed him. He got him to 10% shields, and he was actually kind of in danger there.
Yeah, it looks like the Nightmare's trying to chase him down, but with those Dramiels and that still on the field, he is not going anywhere. Yeah, he's approaching about quarter shield. Shouldn't be not long before this match is complete. Yeah, I think that in the matches we've seen so far, that this is definitely the most convincing win, but I really am surprised with how effective these Tengus have been in this match and the last, in the larger, more populated field.
So Nightmare now getting into armor. He'll be doing it now in just a second. In case you're curious, the Tengus for Perihelion doing around 1,600 meters a second. This Nightmare actually probably micro warp fitted. He's pushing 700 meters a second, but it's kind of an unfortunate place to be. He burns up a lot of cap. Still doesn't catch up to these faster battlecruiser size, and Tech 3 size ships. So that's not good. He's about to drop, and that sucks. That's what, $1.5 billion probably down the toilet
Yeah.
for Vanguard, as well as a match.
Yeah, these teams are spending a tremendous amount of money, and it looks like he's about to pop, and there he goes. And looks like we're going to send you back to CCP Soundwave in the studio.